Hey traders, this is Blake Morrow. You are listening to the week ahead video for July 18th, 2021. I hope you guys are having a great weekend. I'm back. I was on vacation for about a week, a little over a week. And actually, today's going to be a little bit of a different week ahead video. I have a few announcements, a couple things that are happening, and I want to talk about that before I get into the analysis. But let me go ahead and just mention, if you haven't tried out ForexAnalytix, you want to do so before this week, because on Tuesday, listen to the daily F.A.C.E webinar. Do you guys know how to get to the F.A.C.E webinar? First of all, there's a link in this description to get to our daily webinars. You can also click on ForexAnalytix.com and register right here to sign up for those Zoom calls. They are free. They're available to you. If you want to hear an update daily on how I feel about the market or the rest of our team does, make sure you listen into those. And like I said, you're going to want to try ForexAnalytix. It's only $1 to try it out, because once we enact a special, which we tried to do like a week and a half ago, but because I was heading out of town and because we couldn't tie up all the loose ends, we had to wait until Tuesday of this next week. So try it out while you can, because once we have a special price, you're just going to be able to get the special price. So try it out. Download the mobile app too on your iPhone or your Samsung or whatever iOS you use. All right. I just want to mention that. Also, I wanted to, today's going to be a little bit different. Got a couple of things in the mail. You can see a little bit of package here. I'm going to go ahead and open it for you. Just give me 1 second. Okay. Now, this is from Mr. Marc Chandler. He sent me a book, so I just wanted to share it with you guys. Thanks, Mark, if you're listening in. So this is Marc Chandler's book. Let's see, what is it? Political Economy of Tomorrow. What an awesome book. Did he sign it for me? Oh, Mark. Usually he signs these books for me. Anyway, Marc Chandler from Bannockburn Forex. If you see him on CNBC or whatever, he sent this over to me. Thank you, Mark. You're awesome. You guys should pick it up. I'm gonna dig into that at some point. Also, this is from Michele Schneider, which she's also known as Mish. She's a contributor over at Trader Summit with us. This website right here. Her and her team put out some great analysis throughout the course of the week. You guys might have seen her, whether you've seen her on like Fox Business with like Neil Cavuto, or she's been interviewed with us before. It's great. Also, something else that's happening this week, I'm going to interview Brent Donnelly, and I'll tell you what, this is his book, Alpha Trader. Brent is one of the head or chief analysts over at HSBC. He's got an amazing reputation in the markets. He's probably has the most popular Forex newsletter that goes out every morning to all the HSBC clients. It's called the AMFX newsletter. It's awesome. He's just a wealth of knowledge. This book, probably one of the best trading books that I've read yet. And I took this on my trip with me. I didn't get through the entire thing, but I'm going to be interviewing him this week. So you guys are going to be able to listen to that interview. So make sure that you are, you're following me via Twitter. You follow Traders Summit on Twitter. This way you're going to be able to see his interview, because we're going to do it here on the Trader Summit site. All right, guys, let's talk about this next week, and let's talk about what the currency market's been doing. Now, since I was out last week, I spent this weekend doing the updates for basic technical analysis in the different currencies, like the euro dollar here. These charts are all my charts, so I'm going to be referencing a lot of ForexAnalytix on our platform here, because like I said, I did the updating over the weekend, giving some of our team members a little bit of a break for covering for me while I was out of town. But I want to talk specifically about the dollar, and I want to talk a little bit about the euro, because one of the key events that's happening this week is we have the ECB press conference and interest rate decision that's happening on Thursday. Now, You know, if you look at the euro dollar chart, and I'm just going to pull up the euro and go to the daily chart really quick, you can see we're building this wedge. Now, it's also a triangle. You'll notice that we have this big triangle pattern, right? This huge triangle pattern through here. Look at the blue lines. And we have this bearish wedge that suggests that we're going to break down. Now, the dollar ended the week on a very strong note as the equity markets were looking a little risk off. And I'm going to take you over to the S&P really quick just to show you that chart. The S&P, you can see we were weakening at, on Friday. The markets had rolled over a little bit, but we're still in a very bullish ascending wedge. Now, these are my favorite reversal patterns, but we are, I want to say, roughly 60 to 70 points in the S&P from really showing us a bearish reversal. So what does that mean? Well, that means I'm not bearish equities yet. This divergence of relative strength that you see here, this does suggest that the market is at high risk of reversing at these levels, but we haven't seen the whites of their eyes, if you will. All right. So the reason why I bring this up is because in order for the dollar to strengthen, or, let me go over here to the euro again. In order for the euro to really start to weaken or the dollar strengthen, that means the euro breaks down below, let's say, the 117.75 level. You should be writing down that number, 117.75. The way, or maybe something that would confirm a move like that, a break below that support, would really need a little bit of help with equities and risk off. I believe the dollar has been acting very well due to the firmer than expected inflation data that we've seen as of late. But really the catalyst that's going to drive the euro lower at this point is equities moving lower. That means the dollar is going to strengthen as a safe haven asset, or the ECB is meeting on Thursday, and perhaps the ECB does reference that maybe inflation is running below their 2% target. You have to keep in mind, and this is something that Marc Chandler brought up this last week. Marc Chandler, right? One of the things that Marc Chandler brought up this last week is that the ECB hasn't raised rates since 2011. They've kept rates, unchanged, and they haven't raised rates basically off the zero bound, if you will. And Europe has a little bit different of an issue than the United States with inflationary pressures. So if the ECB is really more or less dovish or less concerned about inflationary pressures, that might be the catalyst that drives the euro lower. So ECB on Thursday could drive the euro. I shouldn't suggest that we're just going to break lower. Look, we get above 119 and the euro could really break out to the upside. Remember, this is a long-term consolidation. This consolidation, as you see here, has been really tightening since the end of 2020. We are on critical support. I think if I was a euro bull, which I don't have any euro exposure right now, but if I was a euro bull, I would be a little concerned if we broke what number? 117.75, right? If we broke below 117.75 and I was a bull, I would be concerned. And I think anybody looking at this chart is probably thinking the same thing. Now, you might also say, well, Blake, that's just the euro. What about other currencies? Well, let's talk about other currencies. Let's talk about the sterling. Look at the daily chart in the sterling. Now, this, even though we don't have, we have retail sales data coming up this week. We have an MPC member, Haskell, speaking early on this week. But really, the sterling has underperformed. And I think it's underperformed, or it's performed worse than the market has been expecting. If you look at the weekly chart, okay, and actually let me actually take you to live charts really quick, and I'm gonna, because I really want to show you this weekly chart here. Okay, this is a 10-year, actually 12, maybe 13. What year are we here? 2007. So this is a 13-year descending wedge. We broke out, very bullish move from 134 to 143. But, you know, on this type of descending wedge on a breakout, I would have expected a lot more, personally. If I was long, you know, since basically 2021, I would have been like, this is not performing well. Well, what's the bigger risk with the sterling right now? The bigger risk is we have this big double top, right? And if that double top breaks, that means we break basically below the 200-day moving average in the sterling. That would be around 136.50, roughly. Depends how long we get there. You know, if we break through 136.50, the target actually takes us towards 131. That would be a retest of this weekly wedge. Now, I'll tell you, I'm just going to tell you guys straight up, if we get to 131 in the next couple of months in the sterling, I'm going to get long. I am buying here. I love buying retests of, wedge trend lines. I love it. That's like one of my favorite trades. But you got to think near term. Like, you know, what do you think? I'm just going to sit on my hands, you know, between 136.50 and 131? No. Of course, I'll be, you know, bullish the dollar and, you know, probably shorting some cable here. But what I'm trying to show you guys is that it's not just a euro dollar story. It's a sterling story. Wait, there's more. What other currency pairs could be moving? Well, take a look at the Aussie. All right, here's the Aussie dollar. Now, we've all known that as stocks have moved higher, the Aussie has underperformed. That's been a surprise to most people. Copper's been coming down. The Aussie broke out of this triangle pattern, and it's been bearish since. But you know what's even more important about the Aussie right now? Look at this weekly chart. Look at this big breakout that happened right around 74 cents. We closed this week below 74 cents. I mean, I think this was this low that we saw, you know, around the 55 cent level in the Aussie. I think that was I don't like to use this term often. It's a generational low. That means that's a low that, you know, some generations of traders may never ever see again. You know, those are that are trading. Personally, I would love to see the Aussie come back down to this big support zone that's around the 70 cent level. And based on what we're seeing right now, I think that is a risk. Look at the 200 period moving average on the weekly chart. That comes in around 72.50. That's the target of this triangle. So let me go back over to the daily chart really quick. So that's a 4 hour as we were setting up for the breakdown here. You'll notice that this triangle pattern, that full target, which would be the high, that happened around March, you know, to the triangle low, really takes us to about 72.50. Maybe could get a little bit below that. So, guys, I'm going to say it's not a euro story. It's not a sterling story. It's not an Aussie story. It's really a dollar index story, right? The dollar really looks like it's moving. And I didn't even mention the Canadian. I didn't even mention, the Swissy or the yen. But take a look at the dollar index. I mean, this dollar index, we have this bull flag pattern right here that really targets towards 94 cents in the dollar index. I think a lot of people are looking at this big breakout in the dollar. There's one thing I want to leave you with before I tell you the other pieces of data that are coming out this week that we really need to pay attention to. You'll notice how the dollar index is wedging right up against resistance. You know, whenever you get an asset class that goes right up to resistance and stalls and doesn't pull back, becomes a higher risk of actually breaking out. Or if an asset class drops towards support and then doesn't bounce, you know, those of you that listen to me daily know that I'll say, you know, what does not go up usually only has one other direction to go down, or what does not go down usually only has one other direction to go. You'll notice the dollar index really has rallied towards resistance, and it's spent the last 2 weeks sitting at this resistance. That means it is poised to break out. Now, if we break above 93, we're going to, in my opinion, we're going to go see 94 or maybe even a little bit higher in a fairly short matter of time. The flip side to that is if we break back below like 92.25, then that means that we're staying in this big consolidation pattern. I think a lot of that is going to be predicated on what happens this week with stocks and what happens with the ECB. Now, a couple of other important things before I let you go. We do have Australian retail sales that comes in on Tuesday. Well, it's actually Wednesday morning, so it'll be Tuesday night if you live in North America. We also have Australian monetary policy meeting minutes. That's actually Tuesday morning in Australia, Monday night if you're in North America or in Europe. We have retail sales out of the UK. That'll be late Thursday night or early Friday morning in Europe. Also on Friday, we have a whole bunch of European PMIs that are going to be coming out. Now remember, this is following the ECB meeting, which means that if there's a big move following the ECB meeting, we could see it even get accentuated after the PMI data that comes out on Friday. Also on Friday, we have in the US, we have manufacturing and services PMI data. And then also in Canada, we have retail sales Friday morning as well. So guys, we have a lot of things that are happening this week. I want to reiterate, we have I'm interviewing Brent Donnelly from HSBC, so make sure you're on the lookout for that interview. It'll be on the Traders Summit website. I'm really excited to actually interview Brent personally, and I want to thank you all for listening in. And if you like these types of videos, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Give us a thumbs up. It's over the weekend. We're working for you. I hope you enjoy it, and so does the rest of the team here at ForexAnalytix. I'll see you guys on the F.A.C.E webinar Monday. You guys have a wonderful remainder of your weekend.